Mark Naputi. Hope you guys are having a blessed day. Hey, I wanted to come to you live real quick and share something with you that I know is super important. And I know that it's super important to you guys as well. So I'm going to give everybody a second to jump on. I want to talk a little bit about the mental health, mental illness crisis that we're seeing in our country today and what we're seeing, honestly, across the globe. And what's wild is there are things that can be done to help with this. And I want to talk to you about it, talk to you about, like, I've got a patient this morning. I'm going to go over um, kind of general recommendations and suggestions based off of what's going on with this person from a mental health standpoint. So listen, first of all, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's Dr. Naputi. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see me and hear me, and let me know wherever in the world you guys are watching from. And let me ask you a question. Do you know anybody who's dealing with anxiety, depression, insomnia? What about people that are dealing with Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, these neurological degenerative issues? I want you to understand, just recently, just literally last week, all over national news, CBS, MSNBC, Fox News, there were all kinds of reports about these new tests that are being done that can now determine Alzheimer's risk and other types of neurodegenerative disease risk that people have. And we now have tests that can be done. And folks, we've been doing this in our practice now for almost 2 decades, but we now have tests that can be done that can measure the genetic aspects of human beings, and it can tell them what they're predisposed to having issues with. Okay. Now, listen to this. What's wild is we're seeing a massive amount of mental illness, anxiety, depression, neurodegenerative, cognitive decline. I mean, according to the World Health Organization, National Institutes of Health, the American Medical Association, and etc., the numbers are staggering. In 2025 alone, more than one in five individuals in the United States meet some level of criteria for mental illness. Okay. This is a really big issue. There's literally almost a billion people globally now living with anxiety, depression, and other undiagnosed or misdiagnosed mental health issues. It's pretty wild if you look at this. There have been 100. Listen to this: 153 million cases worldwide of Alzheimer's. This is this new Alzheimer report project that's out. And so, like, for example, today I have a conversation with a patient who they're coming into the office to see me because they're worried about their memory. They're worried about their cognition. They're worried about they can't remember things. They're in their early 60s and they're starting to show some substantial signs and symptoms of mental decline. Well, we ran a genetic profile on this patient and we found out of the 12 genes, there are 12 potential genes that can trigger these processes. Now, remember, just because your genes, your DNA, tells you that there could be a potential problem, doesn't mean you're going to have that. Remember, we give the analogy that your genetics load the gun, but your lifestyle is what pulls the trigger. So this individual has problems with what's called the APOE gene, with the SOD gene, with the CRP gene, and with the MTHFR gene. So what we know is based off of the genetic imbalances, we know what enzymes potentially the body is not producing and what pathways are off. Listen, I need you to understand that your health is more than just like taking vitamins and exercising and eating well. It's understanding the pathways in your body. And we can manipulate those pathways by tweaking our lifestyle, by tweaking what we eat, how we supplement, even what medications we take and don't take, and the exercises we do, and the sleep. So, for example, this guy's got a double strand imbalance of the MTHFR gene. Well, this person can't methylate. So when they can't methylate, they can't detoxify, and their pathways, like of the glutathione pathway, shuts down. The pathways of MTHFR shut down. The inflammatory pathways shut down, so we get inflammation and we can't detox. And all those things are going to contribute to environmental toxins and allergens being a problem for this person. If you've got MTHFR, you have a higher risk. If you have an active MTHFR, you have a higher risk of anxiety, depression, insomnia, Alzheimer's, dementia. I mean, we know that. We now know that these genetic profiles and other blood tests can now determine some of these neurodegenerative issues like Alzheimer's and dementia, even 20 years before the disease actually sets in. Because once it sets in, that disease process is there, and it takes a long time to reverse it, if it can even be reversed. And a lot of times it can. Remember, there are 7 stages of disease, okay? 7 stages. And depending upon where you're at, will determine what you need to do and how you can potentially reverse that and how long it would take for you to do that. So this guy's coming in today. His name's David. David's concerned about anxiety, depression, insomnia. He's got early signs of some Alzheimer's stuff going on. He's been a diabetic. His blood sugars have been elevated. By the way, that is one of the largest drivers. So his genes are predisposing the chessboard for having a problem, but his lifestyle has pulled the trigger. And because of the MTHFR imbalances and because of his lifestyle choices, with his insulin issues and his blood sugar issues, he's now going to have a higher risk of Alzheimer's and even dementia and other neuro issues. So we're going to put him, here's his game plan. Number one, we're putting this guy on a ketogenic food plan. We know that ketogenic food plans can help with everything from fat loss, which is a huge thing, reduction of inflammation. We know that it can also shift the body into ketosis. That whole idea of ketosis and being in a ketogenic lifestyle helps the brain start healing itself, helps the tissue start healing itself. So we're going to recommend him to get into ketosis. Now, we put something together that helps the body get into ketosis quicker because we want to shift from a sugar burner to a fat burner. There's no way we'll be able to fix this guy's brain or his cells and help his neurocognitive issues get better if we cannot get him from burning sugar as his primary fuel source. He's over consuming too many carbohydrates. Most of you are doing the same thing. So we use a formula called Cell Signal. Cell Signal does multiple things. It signals to over 5 different pathways, so it helps the MTHFR pathway that's not working with this guy. This also helps the pathway of the aldosterone pathway. This is the one that gets jacked up when you get high blood pressure or you get swelling in your extremities because your kidneys are dysfunctioning. This also helps the body shift from a sugar burner to a fat burner. It's got the BHB in it. That is important because once we get the body producing ketones, now the brain can start working like it's supposed to. We just recently had a patient who was dealing with horrible seizures, and we were able to help him get rid of his seizures. He hasn't had a seizure in 6 months now. I just had a 6 month checkup by literally just putting him on the Cell Signal and moving him to a ketogenic food plan. That's what it's made for. This person also has elevated homocysteine on their blood test. So we find a ketogenic food plan and Cell Signal formula can lower the homocysteine levels as well. It's probably one of the most common sense things we can do. And we need to get this guy to burn some fat off his body. His insulin resistance is high. He's about 40 pounds overweight, and that's destroying his hormones and metabolism. We're going to put him on a ketogenic food plan, intermittent fasting. He's going to eat 2 meals a day. He's going to eat within a 6-hour window. He's going to go for a 10-minute walk after every feeding he has. He's going to take a digestive enzyme with each meal, and he's going to use the Cell Signal, 3 pills in the morning and 3 pills midday. Now, what else is interesting is almost all of the people that have neurocognitive issues are going to have issues where heavy metals, microplastics, and toxins are going to destroy their body. Listen, there are 3 main drivers that cause you to be sick. When your body gets under stress, okay? When your body gets under stress, the first thing that happens is the voltage in your cells turns down. Did you know that? Do you know that you're supposed to be firing at 70 millivolts? That's like your resting potential, your resting action potential. If you've got genetic imbalances and you live outside your genetic lifestyle, that's going to turn that dimmer switch down. Well, the first thing we've got to do is turn that back up. That's why if you look right here on the Cell Signal, it says cellular recharge. We got to recharge the system, okay? The Cell Signal formula does that with other lifestyle changes. Now, because this guy has methylation issues, and on his blood test, he's got elevated mercury, elevated lead, and elevated arsenic, his body's not detoxifying and pulling out the garbage like it's supposed to. So this is our Detox Pro Plus formula. This is actually a tester that we use in the office. But we're going to give him the Detox Pro Plus formula because we got to open up, not just open up the pathways, we got to pull the garbage out. So when your voltage goes down, the pump of your cell your cell pump slows down. Now it can't pump out the toxins and it cannot suck in the good nutrients. So we're going to recharge the pump and get the pump pumping with cell signal. And then we're going to pull out the toxins, the heavy metals, and the microplastics this guy has with the Detox Pro Plus formula. He's going to do 2 dropperfuls first thing in the morning with about 8 ounces of water. He's going to put a half of a teaspoon of organic salt in there, and he's going to put a squeeze of lemon and drink that down. By the way, this has in it a very strong form of Shilajit. Shilajit has 85 of the most bioavailable minerals that you could possibly get. When I was going through my naturopathic training, I learned that low minerals are the cause of most diseases. Well, this has 85 of the 92 that you need. So we're going to do that with him. Okay. Then what we're going to do, listen, then what we're going to do is this is first of all, we've got to get the brain to rewire and refire. When you've got issues with risk of Alzheimer's and dementia, and this guy has a couple of those genes. He's got the APOE gene, he's got the SOD gene, he's got the MTHFR gene, he's got a couple other genes that mess with the neurofiring and wiring of the brain. We're going to use a peptide formula for this. Now, there's lots of peptides out there on the market. I like to use formulas, okay? Not just one product. I like to stack certain things together. So this person's brain is not wiring and firing like it's supposed to. They're stuck in sympathetic overload. We ran a brain scan of this person, and their brain is supposed to light up green and blue like a Christmas tree, okay? When we saw his brain, it's black and brown. It's dull, okay? So here's what I'm going to tell you is we put him on a formula called the Neuro Reboot. Now this is some stuff that most of you have never seen before. This is one of our advanced formulas. The Neuro Reboot formula has been shown to help improve wiring and firing of brain function. There's a couple compounds in here I want to tell you about. One is a peptide called BPC 157. BPC 157 is known as the Wolverine peptide. It speeds up healing in the body. It helps the body heal itself from all kinds of damage. It speeds up the healing, helps the gut seal and heal. This is what's normally found in the gut when the gut is healthy. This also helps improve healthy blood supply, which your brain it starts losing blood circulation. And that's why we get a lot of anxiety, depression, insomnia, brain fatigue, and even Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's, because when your blood sugar levels elevate, your blood vessels start to narrow. So the BBC 157 in here helps with that. Additionally, in the Neuro Reboot formula, we have a compound that's a peptide-like structure called dihexa. Look how tiny these are. All you do is take one in the morning and one at noon. Dihexa is a peptide-like structure that has 100% absorbability or close to 100% absorbability orally. It only has 4 compounds in it, and it's synthetically made. It has to be synthetically made so it can cross the blood-brain barrier. Okay, so what dihexa does is it improves wiring and firing. So it improves what's called synaptogenesis. Your brain has synapses. These are electrical wiring frequencies. Well, as we get older, as we get under stress, that dial turns down. Dihexa, one of the peptides that are peptide-like structures in here, turns that up. That gets the brain rewiring and firing. That's why when patients start taking the Neuro Reboot, and sometimes like the first 7 to 10 days, they feel like their brain's like starting to turn on and turn over. It just feels sometimes a little weird and funny. Once it turns on, boom, that's a powerful, powerful tool. Now, this ain't your grandma's supplements, okay? These are legitimate 99.7% pure peptide or peptide-like compounds that have a specific use case for it. We're giving it to this patient because of his lack of brain wiring and firing, because of his genetic issues, and because of the symptoms he has that are mimicking those of neurodegenerative decline. Okay. So dihexa helps make new synapses. BPC 157 gets blood supply back to the brain. And then there's one more peptide like compound in here called tesofensine that's also almost 100% absorbable through oral consumption. And what that does, it improves serotonin, dopamine, noradrenaline. Those are 3 neurotransmitters that help with mood stability, and etc. You guys know as well as I do that when you get some mental health issues, mood stability is a very big issue. So this patient, we're putting him on 3 of the cell signal in the morning and 3 cell signal midday. We're putting him on 2 dropperfuls of the Detox Pro Plus in water in the morning. We're putting him on one neuro reboot in the morning, one neuro reboot at noon with his noon meal. He also has abnormal gut bacteria. Remember, folks, even Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said you fix the gut and everything else heals. This guy, we did a urine sample and a stool sample and found that his gut microbiome is out of whack. He's got too many bad bacteria, not enough good bacteria. Well, that's called dysbiosis. When dysbiosis is there, the body cannot produce the neurotransmitters to make us feel happy, balanced, satisfied, and etc. So we've got more risk of neurocognitive decline, Alzheimer's, dementia, autism spectrum disorder, ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, the whole nine yards. So we're going to put him on a ketogenic food plan, lots of protein. He's going to be getting 160 grams of protein a day, lots of fluids, 80 to 90 ounces of fluids a day as well. And then he's also going to be eating fermented foods, at least 1 to 3 servings of fermented foods a day, whether it's kombucha, kimchi, kefir, sauerkraut, fermented vegetables, whatever. And then we're going to put him on the Master Microbiotics formula. This is a very strong probiotic. There's nothing like this on the market. This is the bacteria that's normally in the blue zones of the world. And when these bacteria get into your system, it helps settle the neurotransmitters, reduce the systemic inflammation. These actually culture and cultivate in the gut, so it heals the body, heals and seals the leaky gut, gets rid of the systemic inflammation. The protocol that we're putting for this patient, David, is a very similar protocol that we do for most of our patients that have methylation issues, that have anxiety, depression, insomnia. This mental health crisis that's out there, what's disgusting and sad about it is the data and research has clearly shown that diet and nutrition outperforms medications all the time. So you give your patients benzodiazepines, Prozac or other medicines that are mental health medications, your stress pills or depression medications. Diet, nutrition, lifestyle outperforms it. Listen, guys, outperforms it by literally 80%. So if you do the right stack, the right thing with the right consistency, man, you can fix these problems. And when we're looking at this, you guys, it's wild when you see the stats. The economic burden on the world for mental health is like $6 trillion globally. Anxiety disorders, we're talking, there's a 28% increase since 2020. Major depression, 25% increase by 2020. ADD, ADHD, 31% increase. Insomnia, 40% increase. Dementia, 33% increase. All in the last 5 years since 2020. Guys, this is crazy. Like your brain is not breaking down because of lack of medication. Like it's losing its ability to communicate proper because the signal of the cells goes down. It cannot detoxify the body. It can't regenerate like it's supposed to. And we've got collapsing of the cellular voltage and the signaling. And that signal, when it flatlines, the body now, it doesn't work like it's supposed to. This is so simple to fix, but yet we're not having common sense conversations about this. These are things that you need to know because your doctors don't know this, your hospitals don't know this, your politicians don't know this. And if you don't know what to do to help yourself, there is no help for you. You have to understand that self-care is the real healthcare. So folks, listen, I want you to get plugged in. I want you to learn more about this. You need to understand the concepts. So many people are wasting their time, energy, and money taking all these supplements and all these drugs and all these things that aren't working because the three basic fundamentals of your body aren't working. You can take all the vitamins and minerals and peptides you want, but if your cellular voltage is too low, things aren't going to work. If your toxemia is high, your cells aren't going to work. And if your gut microbiome is out of balance, your body can't heal. So that's why we start dang near every person on the cell signal to recharge their cell voltage. We put them on the Detox Pro Plus to improve detoxification and get the body back into a state of proper pH. And then we put them on the Master Microbiotics formula. That's kind of the baseline that we do with most of our folks. And then we get real granular based off of what we find with them. So guys, I hope that makes sense. Hope this is a common sense conversation in a world where common sense is not that common. So, guys, listen, I got to go take care of some patients. If you have any questions, make sure you guys like, subscribe, put those questions down at the bottom, or go to my website, biolimitless.com. That's biolimitless.com. At the very top, you can go ahead and type in where it says ask. And then we do live AMAs every day. I'm sorry, twice a week. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central and Friday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. We do those so that we can answer your questions, guys. So listen, stay smart out there. All right. Remember, knowledge is power, but wisdom is taking that knowledge and applying it to your life. You guys want to learn more about these common sense techniques to common problems that are out there, stay tuned because we got some answers where a lot of other folks don't. So, guys, remember, knowledge is power, but wisdom is taking in and applying it to your life. Until we meet again, I'm Dr. Eric Naputi. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless this beautiful, beautiful world. Have an amazing day and be well. Take care, guys.